My best friend blew up on my boyfriend, and they got into a fight. Now, my best friend wants me to break up with him but won't say what happened. My boyfriend Blake and I have been together for 3 years. Before we dated, we used to be co-workers at a retail store when we were both 17. The first thing I noticed about Blake when we met was that he never smiled or showed emotion. He always had a serious, stoned look. He hardly, if ever, showed any emotional sentiments. I don't know how to describe it accurately, but imagine Eminem or Shadow from Sonic and how they both always have serious faces. That's how Blake is. Even when customers or our co-workers tried to joke with him, he never smiled or laughed, making it awkward for them. However, Blake has always been respectful to those around him and never once raised his voice throughout his whole career. Our co-workers always thought Blake was weird and warned me to avoid him. However, Blake and I got along great and became good friends despite all that. I never really minded that he never showed any emotions and still thought he was a good person. He even put up with my loud, extroverted self, lol. Over the years, Blake and I became close, and I would occasionally see him smile or laugh, which I would lightly tease him about when it did happen. On my 22nd birthday, Blake asked me to come over to his house and said it was serious. When I arrived, it was full of decorations and flowers, and Blake was dressed nicely. He gave a long speech about how much our friendship meant to him, that he was grateful he had met me, and asked if I wanted to be his girlfriend. I swear it felt like I was in a 70s rom-com movie. It was the first time I had seen Blake so vulnerable. He still had his cute, serious stone face on him, but I could tell he was extremely nervous. I, of course, said yes, and we had been a happy couple since then. Now on to the issue. My best friend Sarah and I have been friends since 5th grade. Sarah and I were each other's partners in crime. She and I were close before I met Blake. She had never met Blake before. At the time, he and I were just barely talking, and by the time we graduated high school, she had moved away to stay with her dad in another city, so she never got the chance to meet him. I, of course, talked about him and showed pictures of him and me together when we became closer and started dating. However, she once stated how she found it weird that he never was smiling or seemed happy when he was with me and that I shouldn't be dating someone who doesn't want